I have been disappearing on YouTube for 2 months. In these 2 months, when I finally leave Hong Kong and arrive at Melbourne, despite lots of excitement and new experiences, I actually find it quite struggling to settle myself down in this new city. To all of you who are new to my channel, I am Melody, an international student studying pharmacy at Monash. In this video, let's have a nice chat about the struggles I have throughout these 2 months of moving into a new city, and talk about the general feelings I have in the end of the video. So let's start with family. My biggest struggle is that I started to think of talking with my family as something I should do instead of something I want to do. And I don't want myself to think like this because it's so bad. Back in Hong Kong, talking to family is a pure enjoyment and it's to share the joyness and some daily mundane things. These small talks occur naturally, but staying in Australia, separating myself from my family, we are no longer living at the same place and we are spending our time completely different. Basically, our lives have almost no overlaps, so we can't naturally come to some small talks like we used to do. The only way to talk to my family is by using smartphone. Text calls, video calls. A major issue is that I hate those text notifications, those red dot notifications a lot. I always see them as distractions and something that's going to waste my time, no matter who's the sender of the message. My mind always has a trouble in categorizing the social distractions and messages that's from someone who's really important, like friends and family. I think my mind associates the negative feelings with not only the distractions, but the text messages, calls from anyone important as well. It's like once something is linked to the use of social media, that thing turns into a distraction, which is further linked to the negative feelings. So I find it hard to stop myself from associating concepts like distractions, wasting time, the need to find time to respond with those texts from my family. Even for live video chat with my family, I kind of treat it like reporting my day to my family. For the normal days when nothing special happened, what I think is that, well, I have nothing special to talk about, so what am I calling them for? I also don't want to end up the live video talks as something like, oh, what's the weather there? What do you have for dinner today? How do you cook that? Because I don't want to just go over the shallow stuff. So every time before calling my family, I naturally come to think that, okay, so what topics do I have to share today? Anything funny or worthwhile to share? I slowly developed a logic that whenever I call them, I have to share something funny, otherwise I don't know what to say and the talk would be so boring. So this is why talking to family appears more as an obligation than a pure enjoyment to me now. I feel sorry for it, both for my family and for why I'm like this. I guess when you're moving in a new environment, where your life is surrounded by uncertainties and stress, talking to your family is often perceived as a burden. It's placed at the least priority compared to something that feels more urgent and important, like studying, ticking off one more task from the to-do list. And I also feel reluctant to share my stress with my family, as I don't want to spread the negativity to them, because I don't want them to worry about me. I just want to share the happiness, but I soon find out that this mindset is so harmful and it must be corrected. For feeling tired to call your family, what I did, and indeed this is advice I would give if you're having the same problem, is that write down your feelings when you miss your family. Because there will be times that you miss them so much. So the next time you're being tired to call your family, get that thing you have written out before and just read that. You will be reminded what things are truly important to you. The second advice is that do not talk only about the positive side of things and avoid talking about the negative side. Just don't. Actually, a few days ago, my mom approached me because she thinks our interaction is being more distanced and separated, she noticed that there may be something wrong with me, and she told me that whether it's the good side of thing or the bad side of thing, I have to share with her. She doesn't want to see me pretending my life is full of happiness with no struggles. So I have a deep talk with her. It's a common sense that only talk about the good things but not the bad things to your family is not good, and studying abroad is what makes this common sense uncommon. So please have a deep talk with your family when you're struggling with a lot of things going around your life. Really sit down and take the time. Like when I'm having a deep talk with my mom, we talk for about 1 hour, just really talking about the stress here, and afterwards it just feels so relieving. It's like I think they're not going to understand me, but instead they understand me so well. Believe me, your family doesn't want to hear about you only talking the good things. They want to know the struggles of you because they care about you. And that what a life is, right? It's never going to be full of good stuff. So do not put yourself into a victim role thinking that, oh, I'm not going to tell them this and that because it makes them worry about me. Which is what I did before. Because soon after that, you start to feel pity on yourself and thinking why my family are not caring about me. Why don't they understand me? And that's because you don't let them to even understand you at the first place. The second thing I want to talk about is language barriers. The thing I learned from these 2 months in Australia is that understanding a language doesn't mean that you understand the accent and the culture. I can speak English, but I find it hard to understand Australians' local accent. I remember there's a time I got into the pharmacy to buy something, and I get to the cashier. The cashier speaks so fast that I could only get 30 to 40% out of 100%. And I noticed a thing. The school professors talk differently from the locals on the street. I could understand almost 100% of what my professors are talking about. They have a really nice tone and pace, making sure everything is slow, clear, and students could follow it along. It's different from the locals. I first believed that if I can understand what my professors are talking about, I should have no problems with talking to the locals. And I'm wrong. For the advice here, I'm still trying to learn as well. I'm trying to adapt to the way they speak. But I try to be the first one who start the conversation and talk slowly so that they know they have to slow down their speed when they're speaking to me. I also challenge myself to talk to strangers like dog owners only if their dog seems friendly and doesn't bark at me. I also talk to people who perform busking on streets, like say, hey, I really like your music. After the performance, when I like the music and I want to show some support. That helps to open myself up, so give it a try if you want to. The third thing here, friends and loneliness. Well, I have no friends. My social cycle is mainly international students. In the first few weeks, of course, we're entirely new to the environment and we don't know everyone yet, so we are eager to meet people, talk to people, and make friends. But this only happens in the first few weeks. After the first few weeks, I started to see there's some smaller groups forming. They have been hanging around together, like watching movies, having a nice break in the holidays. And I didn't join any of these gatherings mainly because of three reasons. So the first one, distance barrier. It takes me 1 hour and 20 minutes to go to school, where most of them actually live near the school and they hang out around the nearby district. So it just takes too much time for me to get there. Second, cost plays a big role here. I will talk about it in the next point, but the transportation fee in Melbourne is really high. And you know, when you hang out, you're very likely to spend money on some food like boba tea, coffee, meals. I consider that as an extra expenditure which I don't want to spend because I don't want to add any additional financial burden. Third is because I'm an introvert guy, I prefer staying at home rather than playing outside. And I just generally find it hard to join the conversations within a large group of people. I mean, 2 to 3 people are fine, but if the number of people exceeds that, I find myself the need to constantly stay alert to the things they're talking about, which makes me tired. So slowly I find myself hard to blend into these groups. I do have friends who I have lunch with, talk about our studies and have some nice chat during our lunch and when waiting for classes. But again, what's the definition of friends? The small talks you have? Sure, you can talk about studies, hobbies, general kind of stuff, but to me, friends are someone who truly resonates with you deeply, that you don't have to keep up the talking and both of you are completely comfortable in silence. The next thing is the new study style. I had been for online lectures and workshops, and collaborating with people online is so different from being in person, where the interaction is much more rapid and the discussion is much more fierce. It puts you into an open discussion area that you have to learn how to work with others and forces you to speak up. So whenever the facilitator throws a question or explains something and you don't get it or you just want to give your thoughts, you have to express yourself bravely in front of your classmates. And it takes quite some time to learn that it doesn't matter if your answer is right or wrong. The thing that matters is that you're practicing the skill to respond swiftly and spark discussions. I know there's 2 types of preferences when it comes to learning and expressing your thoughts. The first type is that you go through the thoughts in your mind and only say it out when you make sure it's perfect. The second type is that you organize your thoughts during speaking them out. It doesn't matter if your thoughts are perfect or not, you just sense your thoughts and speaking at the same time. I'll say in a workshop environment, the second type of learning is much more preferable because everyone are quite aggressive or active, I should use the word. But the second type of learning for me is hard because I keep being afraid of what if I say something silly, or what if others can't understand what I'm talking about. And just imagine all the eyes are on you. But I know that that's a really great practice that trains you to respond fast and confidently. This is a skill that needs practice. It's something not inborn with us. So instead of regretting you didn't try to speak up or volunteer, it's better to regret that you tried, but you messed up your speech. I want to briefly touch on the cost and living expenditure here. So back when I was in Hong Kong, the transportation fee is quite affordable, especially I have the student concession. So I expect the same when I came to Australia, thinking, well, there should be some concession price for students. But what I realized is that they don't have the concession fee for international students. They only have it for domestic students. As an international student, you have to buy the concession first by paying really expensive fee, then enjoy the concession fee. That's the transportation part. Let's talk about the food. Okay, it's the same. It's so expensive here. I never expect a McDonald's hamburger would cost me around $8 Australian, because in Hong Kong for the same type of hamburger, the exact same type of hamburger, you only have to pay for a maximum around $4 Australian, which is half the price. And the price for daily groceries is not cheap as well. Anyway, for the high living standard, I think I have to take some time to get used to it. The last struggle I want to talk about is rescheduling your daily routine. Each city has its own pace, and you have your own pace as well. You have to fit in a lot of new things into your schedule and change the way you used to do things. Like, you have a new commute and you may need to spend more time on transportation. or you used to play badminton or do gym just next to where you live, maybe only a 10 minutes walk. But here it depends on where you live. It may take you more time on commute, say a 30 minutes walk to the gym. And when you want to book a court for badminton, you have to think about the booking fee as well. For me, when I want to find the nearest badminton court near my uni, because my university campus is so small that it doesn't have badminton clubs or courts, I find a good one that's just a few minutes away from my uni, the badminton court at University of Melbourne. But I'm shocked when I checked the price. It's so unreasonably high to me. So instead of playing badminton for exercise, I just walk, because walking in nature is free and is refreshing.